Tibetan tranquility puts a smile on the face of Nebraska farmer and rancher Rick Hammond.
It's not the blissful Buddhist calm that I would strive for.
What Rick collected on his world travels as a young man wasn't just mementos, but an environmental philosophy that shapes his care of more than 2,000 acres of Nebraska farmland.
I was in the upper Amazon of Ecuador and saw the oil exploration and the pollution that happens out there. We only have one world, and I want wild places left for the generations to come. So the heifers are over there.
Rick and his daughters care for more than 250 cattle and plant corn and soybeans. He's put some 250 acres into the state's conservation program.
And it's been very beneficial to wildlife. And we get to graze it. It's out of the program now, and so I've left it in grass.
It sounds like you would call yourself a conservationist.
Right, and with this pipeline, I call myself an environmental activist.
As back to nature as Rick Hammond hoped to be, industry caught up with him several times as pipeline companies came knocking on his door to get permission to lay pipe under his farmland.
He's full.
One such company was TransCanada. The Canadian pipeline company wants to extend its existing Keystone 1 pipeline to bring heavy oil from the oil sands in Hardisty, Alberta, through the Midwestern United States to Steel City, Nebraska, where it will connect to refineries in the American Gulf Coast, which can process such oil. The project is known as the Keystone XL pipeline.
So when the TransCanada man came knocking on your door,
yeah,
what's going through your mind?
That didn't go down very good. I was polite and listened to him.
Ultimately, Rick sold a strip of land to TransCanada for the first Keystone XL pipeline route. That route has since been moved to protect more of a crucial regional water source.
So I offered to give the money back to get my signature back, and they wouldn't do it.
This is Rick Hammond's pasture land, and I'm standing on the easement that he sold to TransCanada a few years ago for the original Keystone XL pipeline route. There's no longer any pipeline stakes here, but what there is a sign of protest.
You can find similar signs just 32 kilometers away, where farmland owned by Rick's two sisters-in-law is now in the second proposed path of the Keystone XL pipeline.
Well, when my niece Megan Hammond called and said, "Hey, Aunt Abby, you and Aunt Terry are on the route of the pipeline," total shock and disbelief. No, there's no way. That can't be.
For more than 130 years, these fields have belonged to these sisters and to their family.
My father started us working on the farm very early, like 9, 10, 11. He believed that we should work and work hard constantly. He didn't believe in us watching TV.
We have experienced everything from, floods to droughts to fires.
What Abby Kleinschmidt and her sister Terry Harrington do not want to experience, though, is an oil spill. The sisters chart scenes like these: a July 2010 pipeline spill in the U.S. state of Michigan, a March 2013 oil spill in the U.S. state of Arkansas, both carrying heavy crude from Canada's oil sands. The family fears what such a spill could do to their water supply and the prospects of passing their land on to their children.
Man-made things do fail, and this pipeline will leak. And we do not want this in clean water.
I don't know. There's some heart connection.
It goes right to the core of
to your family.
I mean, it's who we are.
Yes, yeah.
And this whole pipeline fight it just goes directly right to my core. It just grabs me right there.
Last spring, the family took their fight along with nearly 300 others to a hearing in Lincoln, Nebraska, where the U.S. State Department collected public opinion on the proposed Keystone XL pipeline. While the department is nominally in charge of making a final decision, President Barack Obama is expected to weigh in heavily on whether to allow the pipeline to be built.
They tell us that it's good for us, but in truth, it's only good for the profits of big oil.
TransCanada is spending millions of dollars to make its case to build Keystone XL. In 2012 alone, industry groups spent nearly $180 million to support the project. Opponents bet less than $5 million, according to a Think Progress analysis.
It will be a supply line that will help keep American refineries running at capacity with a product that they rely on every day. Keystone XL will be safer than any other pipeline that has been built to date.
A State Department environmental review reveals the company's existing Keystone 1 pipeline has reported leaking 14 times since going into operation in June 2010. TransCanada argues the spills have been small and that this new pipeline boasts the top technology for spill prevention in the world.
We also have dedicated leak detection specialists, something we think is unique to TransCanada, whose only job is to analyze the data that's being received from the pipeline and the 16,000 monitoring points we have along it for evidence of potential leaks.
TransCanada says Keystone XL will require at least 20,000 skilled workers to build and will create $5 billion in property taxes during its operational lifetime.
These are not minimum wage jobs. These are maximum wage jobs. And today's American workers need more of these types of jobs to pay well.
Every day this project is delayed means that these skilled workers are unable to get the hours they need to qualify for their health and pension benefits or to provide quality of life that they want for their families.
U.S. President Barack Obama has said he will allow Keystone XL to be built, provided it does not contribute to greenhouse gas emissions.
Hello, I'm Congressman Lee Terry from the state of Nebraska's 2nd District.
But Nebraska Congressman Lee Terry has repeatedly led the charge to circumvent the presidential approval process in favor of a legislative approval process.
I came here to be energy independent, to be able to use our own resources, to not use OPEC oil.
In May 2013, Terry proposed and the U.S. House of Representatives passed a measure to allow Keystone XL to be built without a presidential permit.
We still have to wait for the president to make a decision, and I just don't think he's going to make one.
You think he's going to leave the decision undone indefinitely and
Yes.
basically hold the project up?
Yes.
Why do you think that?
Because that's what the environmental group's ultimate plan is to delay it out of existence.
Do you think that's been effective so far?
They've done a damn good job of it so far.
So far, the Keystone XL has been delayed for 5 years. In the meantime, the project has gained the support of a majority of Americans, with more than 2/3 favoring the Keystone XL pipeline. About 1/3 of Americans oppose it. Environmental groups and vocal Nebraska landowners aren't giving up, though. They filed a lawsuit against Nebraska's government questioning the constitutionality of a law to fast-track the Keystone XL pipeline route through the state.
Because until this lawsuit's decided, the route within Nebraska is undetermined. Even if the president tomorrow said, this is the greatest project ever, I approve it, the route in Nebraska would be undetermined.
Why should any of us be taking this risk when somebody else is getting all the reward? So that's why I'm staying in the fight.
Canada's Minister of Natural Resources, Joe Oliver, brushes off the criticisms of ranchers and environmentalists. He regularly travels to Washington, D.C. to extol the virtues of Keystone XL and its promise to create energy independence for the continent.
That if you don't get Keystone, will that speed up the process of building a westbound pipeline to China?
It will intensify our need to diversify our market to the burgeoning Asia-Pacific area. I mean, look, there's tremendous complementarity. I mean, we have an overarching strategic objective to diversify our resources.
Empty threat? Not really. A pipeline known as the Enbridge Northern Gateway is already being reviewed by the Canadian government. We'll have more on that project and the controversy it's generating in a moment.